Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving deeper into the mysteries of the gaming world. As promised in my Roblox Racer analysis video, on August 31st, Roblox Store released its newest floor, The Mind. With so many requests, we're going to analyze it together in this video. If this is your first time hearing about Roblox Store, it's a very popular game on the Roblox platform. The game revolves around playing as a mysterious character, navigating through rooms filled with dangerous entities, with the goal of reaching the final room. Currently, Door has 2 chapters with a total of 200 rooms, The Hotel and The Mind. The Mind is the newest chapter, a continuation of the events from the previous chapter, after the elevator was attacked by a figure, causing the main character to fall into an underground area. Just like in Chapter 1, getting through the first 100 rooms of Chapter 2 is quite difficult because we have no idea what's going to happen, and we have to fail repeatedly to learn from our mistakes for the next attempts. After replaying the first 100 doors of Chapter 1, I noticed a lot of changes in the game, from gameplay and cutscenes to effects. However, since this video will focus on Chapter 2, I'll only mention the changes that affect Chapter 2. The first change is related to the entity Hyde. Previously, if we hid in a closet, Hyde would eventually chase us out. However, now Hyde will attack us in a minigame format. This minigame was previously a heart rate minigame for the figure entity, but with slight color changes. There's a heart in the middle, and over time, 2 outlines will appear. We need to press at the exact moment when the outlines touch the heart. A noteworthy aspect of this minigame is its infinite progression, rendering completion impossible. To terminate the sequence, players must exit the closet. However, any errors during the minigame will result in expulsion from the hiding spot and a substantial health penalty of 40 points. While this alteration increases the difficulty of utilizing the closet as a hiding strategy, mastering the minigame can instill a greater sense of confidence when employed. The Hyde entity in Chapter 2 features a new mechanic where it can spawn within a closet that has recently been vacated. This prevents players from repeatedly hiding in the same location. Attempting to enter an occupied closet will result in immediate expulsion. Chapter 2 introduces a paradigm shift in gameplay. While Chapter 1 primarily revolved around key-based progression and lockpicking, Chapter 2 introduces a more intricate door locking mechanism. Players must now locate and install fuses to activate generators. Each generator requires 3 fuses to become operational. Upon activation, players can interact with the nearby switch to unlock the corresponding door. This new system presents a significantly greater challenge compared to Chapter 1, resulting in a more extended gameplay experience per room. Chapter 2 introduces several new items to the player's inventory. The glow stick, a recurrent item, serves as a light source, illuminating dark areas upon deployment. The hook, a specialized tool found in hidden chambers, facilitates interaction with root-bound objects such as wooden crates, allowing players to progress through certain areas. Additionally, battery packs and first aid kits have been added to the game's item pool. These 2 items have the same function, storing batteries and bandages. The battery pack can hold 4 batteries, while the bandage pack can hold 10 bandages. Next is the mini light. This is a type of light worn on the chest that provides low lighting. The purpose of this light is that it always shines, even if you are holding another item. Next is the big light. This is a light at maximum power, illuminating a wide area, but it consumes a lot of batteries to use. Finally, there is the laser light. As the name suggests, this is a light that emits a laser beam. This laser beam is non-damaging and can create a small illuminated area at a distance. Those are all the items in Chapter 2. Now let's move on to the entities. In Chapter 2, we will encounter almost all familiar entities. The first familiar entity is Rush, still with the familiar mechanism of recognizing flashing lights. But in Chapter 2, when Rush appears, there will be an additional earthquake effect. The second familiar entity is Screech, still using the familiar sound alarm mechanism. But in Chapter 2, Screech will appear almost everywhere and at any time. So if you've passed the first door, it will be difficult to away from keyboard safely in Chapter 2. The third familiar entity is Eyes, still causing continuous damage if you look at it. But Eyes can now move to different positions, and this makes Eyes much more annoying in a room. The fourth familiar entity, Figure, remains visually impaired and will attack in response to noise. A silent approach is the most effective strategy against Figure. The fifth recurring entity, Halt, functions as it always has, but there's a crucial detail in its room, a mining cart. In Chapter 2, Halt's room always requires players to interact with a mining cart. This cart must be pushed to clear a path forward. Failing to do so will result in a dead end. While there's a familiar entity called Sick, we'll delve deeper into its specifics later in the video. For now, let's explore the new entities introduced in this chapter. The first entity is Giggle. It looks similar to Screech, but has a brighter color. This is an annoying entity. They cling to the ceiling and will attack anyone standing below. When attacked by Giggle, you will be tripped and have ringing ears for a few seconds. To avoid Giggle, check the ceiling and listen for its laughter. Giggle can be stunned if you shine a light on it or throw a glow stick at its face. In multiplayer mode, if someone gets attacked by Giggle, other players can help remove it faster. The second new entity is Grumble. This is the adult version of Giggle. This entity first appears in room 150. They move very fast in the tunnels and deal a lot of damage if you stand too close. The only way to avoid Grumble is to run into narrow spaces. The third new entity is Gloombat. They move in flocks and usually fly around their nests. They will attack any light source within their range. If you use a light while Gloombats are present, they will continuously attack you. Stepping on Gloombat eggs will cause a small amount of damage, but if you step on one egg, all the other eggs will hatch and each egg will produce a new Gloombat. Avoiding Gloombats is quite simple. Don't use a light when you're near them. At first, you might feel uneasy when seeing Gloombats because they make scary sounds. But as long as you don't use a light, you can pass by them without worrying. Besides the entities, Chapter 2 also introduces rooms with gas leaks. These rooms are marked with a flame symbol. If you stay inside a leaking room for too long, you will experience an oxygen deprivation effect, causing your screen to narrow until you eventually die from lack of oxygen. If you bring a lighter into a leaking room, it will explode and kill you instantly. To get through a leaking room, avoid using a lighter and try not to stay inside for too long. If you feel like you're running out of oxygen, you can go back to the previous room to refill. Chapter 2 also includes rooms designed like flooded tunnel mazes. These rooms require you to find your way quickly, or you'll die from lack of oxygen. That's a brief overview of the new items and entities in Chapter 2 of Roblox Store. Now, let's go into detail about each stage of the game. After completing all 100 doors in Chapter 2, I will divide it into 6 stages. Stage 1 will be from room 101 to 140. Stage 2 will be from room 140 to 150. Stage 3 will be from room 150 to 151. Stage 4 will be from room 151 to 195. Stage 5 will be from room 195 to 199. And finally, Stage 6 will be room 200. Starting at Stage 1, from room 101, you will exit the elevator and have to find the fuses to start the generator and open the door. From room 110, you will start encountering rooms with the entity's figure and halt. In this stage, I have a pretty good trick. When you're about to leave Halt's room, sit down. When the game spawns you in a new room, if it happens to be Figure's room, it won't detect you. Moving on to Stage 2, in room 140, you'll encounter the entity Sick. Just like in Chapter 1, Sick will start chasing you. The chasing mechanic still requires you to follow the guidance of the blue light. However, there's a new twist: collapsing bridges. Whenever you encounter a collapsed bridge, you'll have to jump over it. The chase becomes even more intense starting from room 145. You'll find yourself inside a minecart, and you'll have to control it following the guidance of the blue light. While doing this, you'll need to keep a close eye on the direction of the blue light and watch out for wooden planks so you can duck in time. Sick will chase you to room 150, marking the beginning of Stage 3. At the start of Stage 3, you'll have to run away from a rumble. Then, you'll reach a control room where antennas are scattered around room 150, guarded by rumble. To activate the antennas, you just need to enter the correct number sequence given beforehand. Each time you finish entering, you'll flip a switch to confirm, and then return to the control room for a new sequence. However, some antennas will require you to do a little math. For example, in this case, you'll see a piece of paper on the antenna that says -2. This means you'll have to subtract it from each digit in the given sequence. So, if the given sequence is 072, 0 minus 2 is 8, 7 minus 2 is 5, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Therefore, the sequence you need to enter is 850, and when you input it, the electronic board will display the correct number according to the given sequence. Another example is when the system gives you the number 861, and the antenna has a paper that says +3. This means you add 3 to each number. 8 plus 3 is 11, 6 plus 3 is 9, and 1 plus 3 is 4. So the sequence you need to enter is 194. After activating all the antennas, you can start the bridge. Then, you'll be chased by Rumble to room 151, where there's a staircase leading you down to the underground sewer system, marking the beginning of stage 4. This stage begins at Jeff's shop, where you can use money to buy items. From room 153 to 195, you'll continue to avoid entities, and their frequency will increase significantly. I noticed something interesting in the rooms of this stage. If you stand about 3 steps away from the next door, it will automatically open. This sometimes leads to unintentionally activating the entity in the next room while wandering around the room. In stage 5, you'll encounter Sick again in room 195 and be chased for the second time. This time, you'll need to follow the blue light and jump over gaps. Sick will chase you to room 199, and when you enter room 200, you'll reach stage 6. In room 200, you'll be taken to a large dam with the entity 6 in the middle. During this process, you'll have to close valves to drain the entity into the sewers. While moving between valves, you'll have to jump on wooden planks, bricks, and pipes. If you touch 6 black water, you'll lose health continuously. During this process, pay attention to the red lights. If you see a red light, it means that Spot is about to be attacked by Sick. After closing all the valves, there will be a cutscene where Sick is drained into the sewers. Now, we start the generator and open the emergency exit. Following the stairs, we'll reach the ground. We'll find ourselves wandering in a forest. Following the forest path, we'll arrive at a castle. A cutscene will show us opening the castle door, and suddenly, a rumble floats up from the ground behind us. However, it was immediately swallowed by 6. This marks the end of Chapter 2 in Roblox Doors. These are the analyses of items, gameplay, and entities in Chapter 2. Now, I'll share some tips that can help you easily beat the game. The first tip is to frequently use glow sticks in Chapter 2. Glow sticks are probably the most common item found in every room. If you find a dark area or a dark room, don't hesitate to put a glow stick in there to light your way, or use glow sticks to mark cabinets, as the light from the glow stick will provide you with additional information to perform the next actions. The second thing is that in rooms with a figure, actions like throwing glow sticks, opening cabinets, or being attacked by other entities will also make noise, causing the figure to immediately rush over. Therefore, if you're near the figure, do not open cabinets or drawers, as it will hear you. The third thing is to frequently loot, because in Chapter 2, there are many items, not just glow sticks, but also batteries and medical tapes that appear constantly. Some rooms will have so many items that you can fully heal or fully recharge your battery. The fourth thing is in the puzzle at room 150. If you've played up to room 150, you'll notice that this area is very large and divided into 2 zones. Each zone has 2 floors, so it's easy to get lost. And whenever you get lost and get cornered by 2 rumbles from both directions, you're almost certainly doomed. Therefore, the most effective way to locate the antennas is to pay attention to the rotation direction of the radar towers. If the radar tower is pointing horizontally, it means the antenna is on the 1st floor. And if the radar tower is pointing upward, the antenna is on the 2nd floor. For example, in this case, you'll see the radar tower pointing upward. Based on the map's orientation, which means from the control room, you'll turn right and find your way to the 2nd floor. Once you've reached the correct zone and floor, the rest is simply following the sound signal and locating the antenna. As for the storyline, as mentioned in previous analysis videos, I have a theory that the main character is a detective following the guidance of a mysterious force, seen in the form of a guiding light. This light leads the main character into a hotel, from which they fall into a mine, and from the mine, they continue on to a castle. In Chapter 2, the element that provides the most information about the storyline seems to be the cutscene at the end of the game. In this scene, we see a rumble rushing in to attack the main character, but the entity 6 stops it. However, before that, it was the entity 6 that had been relentlessly pursuing and trying to eliminate the main character. This leads me to the theory that 6 destroyed the rumble not because it suddenly wanted to protect the main character, but because it didn't want the rumble to cause any damage to the castle. And if you recall, Roblox Doors is a game inspired by Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, so the appearance of a castle is not too surprising. However, with so little information available in Chapter 2, it seems we'll have to continue waiting for more clues from the developers to explain the reasons behind the events in the game. And that's my analysis and theory for Chapter 2 of the game Roblox Doors. If anything seems illogical or there are mistakes, feel free to comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and follow DM'd.